Hey guys, I hope the streaming is working properly. I'm still quite new to this. Today is a really low day for me, again, which I seem to be having quite a few of recently. I don't know if it's just the change in the weather, or circumstances, or the accumulation of weeks, months, and years of struggle, but that's why I want to open up and share it and continue to be an example for not being afraid to share this. That's my alarm. To speak up about it, to support each other in our struggles, to make these things more visible and reduce the taboos around talking about these things. So, yeah, I'm still not quite sure what the actual root explanation is for my specific kinds of struggles. It's pretty clear to me that I'm somehow neurodivergent, but even this term is very subjective, like with so many terms, it's so much a definition thing. What does it actually mean to be neurodivergent? It just means you diverge from what's neurotypical. And that is just defined by society, by statistics, by different findings in medicine, psychology, etc. So, yeah, one recent process that I'm going through is having received the results after getting tested for ADHD and it being kind of inconclusive, which honestly I did sort of expect. But I don't know, I just didn't take the time to prepare emotionally for what could be the answer. I don't usually do that unless it's something that requires further action. Then I do mental preparation, but otherwise, like, what's the point thinking about something that I don't know what it's going to be and what it's going to feel like and what's going to happen afterwards. So, yeah, they kind of said you probably did have it, but it's not very clear anymore because your functioning is very high. So either I learned to cope with it really well, or it's not exactly what I have. So, or what I am. Also, got to be careful with language, not to pathologize things. I don't think it's a condition. I think it's whatever it is. It's a way of being. Same with a lot of things that we tend to pathologize. And so, yeah, the next course of action is kind of unclear. I mean, therapy is always a good option. It's also a recommendation that came. Otherwise, we can try to pursue some further medication routes, and that's quite scary because I'm gonna have to change from what I was doing, try something completely new for 2 months continuously, and my life is already stressful enough as it is. I have to rely on myself to perform because every single day and everything that I'm doing in my daily life is demanding. And if I'm not able to perform because I'm trying out something else that's somehow going to change my functioning in unexpected ways, then I have to get through that. So that's like a next level test of my resilience. It's kind of like in these fantasy action hero movies where it's already super impossible to accomplish the mission, and then something happens like, I don't know, I have it in my mind that I think it was Chronicles of Riddick. There's a place where there's like way more gravity, and so he has to go and fight people or something with like everything being heavier than it is on Earth. This kind of like level up, and you're like, oh man, I thought it was hard enough. But it's just 2 months, and it might be worth it. And who knows, maybe it'll work really well for me, and then I'll feel amazing. I don't know. But yeah, I have amazing people I can talk to about these things, and one of them just said, it's very hard to pull apart which elements of daily struggles for people like us come from maybe the same causes of a standard depression, or something about being different, or just environmental situational stuff. And so it's all just very complex, and I kind of have given up a little bit on trying to understand the why always, because that's not necessarily the most helpful approach. So it's really important to just be very pragmatic sometimes and think, okay, even if I don't get where it's coming from, I don't really understand what it is. How do we deal with it? What are the action steps? What's important, and what should I be prepared for, and what should I prepare the people around me for? Even though I am a very first principles thinker, and therefore I really do like to understand everything deeply. But yeah, also part of the results that was a little bit unsettling for me was realizing that, well, not realizing that, but getting the sense from the results that maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. But I know that these measurements are also very statistic, very linear, very one-sided, black and white, and also there's a lot of environmental situational factors there. So maybe, I could be having a bad few days or a bad few weeks. And obviously, if you're tired or sad or whatever, you're not going to perform as well. Um, uh, that situational environmental for me also includes things like sleep and diet. If I'm not eating my best, if I'm super stressed all the time, then of course I'm also not going to be thinking as clearly. But it could just also be that I am not as smart as I thought, and that's a pretty scary thought to come to terms with. I also do still believe that things like intelligence are depend on how you define them, and that it's not set in stone. So I have a growth mentality that, you know, anyone can become way more than they already are if they choose to, if that's something that's important to you or useful or necessary. And it definitely is important to me, obviously, since I'm reacting this way and saying these things. But maybe it's not as bad as I thought if I realize, okay, maybe I'm just kind of average or just above average or whatever the tests were suggesting. I don't have to be like a super genius in order to be able to do something great and have a good impact on the world. I have a bit of an Atlas syndrome, in case you hadn't noticed, wanting to really, really help a lot and take responsibility for everything that's going wrong everywhere. So that's why it would have meant a lot to me to be born a genius. But then maybe if I was, I wouldn't have developed this personality and this perspective, you know? So everything kind of is unique. And you can think it happens for a reason. Maybe everything is just chaos. But either way, I think it's beautiful. And that just shows again that everyone struggles, no matter who you are, no matter how successful or happy someone else looks. Or, yeah, even if you take a comparison between two really extremely different places of society, like someone who looks really extremely successful and happy with someone who looks like they're suffering a lot and they're having a really awful life and awful luck and stuff like that, it might be that the suffering is pretty much on a level. It's something that I've talked about before, because we all just have such unique struggles. You know, like life just has a way of testing you and making you grow no matter who you are. So yeah, just some random thoughts. Let's see how these 2 months go. I'll keep you posted. I'd rather not share the details right now about you know, the medication or whatever is going on until I know more and the results are there. But in general, I'm also a big fan about people again getting to understand things from first principle. I really love, for example, these like Reddit threads where you can learn about biochemistry and discuss with other people how they approach substances, everything from caffeine and alcohol to self-medication and other substances, and just like really think about what does everything do with my body and who am I and blah blah blah. I think we need a lot more of that, a lot more open-mindedness in the world. Obviously, you have to take the legal considerations, but yeah, as you know, I'm a big fan of scientific approach to knowledge and progress for everyone. So yeah, maybe it's something I'll talk about in the future. Not yet. What does this mean for me right now? Obviously, more resilience. It's the explanation why also, even after my last LiveLog where I was super hyped, I still haven't been able to really follow through with that. I have actually been surprisingly consistent, because I created the setup, which looks amazing now. When I plug in my keyboard, I can really teach in a whole other way now. So that was a big success, little success story, big little success story. And I did buy the course that I said I would take, and at least I have the tab open, even if I haven't started, for Insta content. And I've been applying actually to work with exciting startups in this area, because I realized one of the best ways that I personally learn is hands-on, and I really, really appreciate when I can learn something and be paid for it at the same time, because I don't have time to do stuff for free, or unfortunately. So it might be that I have 1 or 2 positions coming in the pipeline where I get to apply this newfound knowledge about social media and getting leads and making sales and stuff like that, which is essential for being self-employed nowadays. So yeah, keeps the responsibilities keep stacking. I haven't published it yet, for I filmed a vlog where I was really excited about moving into a new apartment, and that of course also means paying rent. At the same time, I still have to commute, so I've decided to go for this thing called Bahncard 100, which means you get access to all German trains, buses, trams, etc. in the whole country. You can use all of them, but as you can imagine, it's a pretty expensive monthly membership. And so it's like, yeah, everything was already getting more stressful, and then this happened. So yeah, that's why I'm having a cup of coffee at 20 to 3 p.m., which is unusual for me. And also reminding me that I have a bunch of cool ideas and projects that I shouldn't forget to keep going with. That's openers design. This is the only existing print. Maybe I should like put this on eBay, make it worth millions. No, I'm kidding. Who am I? Like, no one has heard of us. But I'll definitely keep it. Maybe if you want in the future, if I get really successful, you can buy the first ever printed openers mug. Yeah, I've been meaning to do e-commerce for probably years now. And I know it's really hard to get into, and that's why I have not pursued it, because I haven't had the capacity. You also have to be really realistic, I think, when you pursue things, to really assess, is this, what kind of probability of success does it have? And independent of how good or bad it is, you can still pursue it, but then also assess your capacity. Like, do I have the capacity to work with this probability? And in this case, when it was like maybe 40% chance of success, and my capacity is at like 10% free, that's not going to work, is it? So I could make it work if I really want to, if I have to, but everything is, you have to put it into context. So yeah, just hoping for better times, hoping to hear back from my best friends at the Foreigners office. Shout out to the German Foreign Office workers. You should do your job better. And yeah, I have to go teach now in 4 minutes. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Stay awesome. Stay strong.